Hallo, mag ik die vraag zeggen? Wel een project zegt hem, maar moesten we het morgen, dan zou je niet van ons draaien en pakken.
This was just then to give you a small impression so that you at least know what I'm talking about, and I will tell you about the other scenes. So one of the sketches of Benidorm Bastards, an older couple is soul kissing on the hood of a luxury car next to a sidewalk cafe. And seconds later, the vertical doors of the car open up and out for easy access, and a man helps his woman, who carries a walking cane, to take a seat. And thereafter, techno music comes out of the open car windows while the man drives away, leaving the flabbergasted people at the cafe staring after them. And I use this specific example to demonstrate that Benidorm Bastards partly thrives on what I would like to call age bending, in reference to what is known as gender bending or the transgression of expected gender roles. Many scenes of Benidorm Bastards illustrate how the main characters mistake one rather fixed age stage for another. They pretend to be young people by mimicking certain codes of urban youth subculture. First, the elderly hang out on the streets like an ordinary gang, engaging in vandalism, shoplifting, and physical abuse. In the opening credits of the show that we watched together, they can be seen arriving on their electronic mobility scooters. Second, they make use of youth language, peppered with slang and swear words to sound like today's teenagers. Third, the actors and actresses' clothing is old-fashioned, but accessorized with modern gadgets and electronic devices, for example, skateboards and headphones. And to deduce from the dialogues between the elderly characters, they also are familiar with modern communication technologies such as Twitter and Facebook. And fourth, the older people make clear that they enjoy experimenting with narcotics and sex. We get a glimpse of them in threesomes with sex toys, engaged in the act of adultery and having sex in public places. In short, in these sketches, the actors and actresses of Benidorm Bastards are cast as older people. They are visibly old, but at the same time, they are given directions to refuse to act their age, more specifically, to behave like teenage criminals. And referring to Tchechne, one could say that the show gives these older actors and actresses the chance to re-become what they never were. In terms of their subversive potential, the scenes in which the older actors and actresses do not act young but old, in other words, when they do act their age, these scenes may be regarded as even more provocative. What does acting old mean exactly in the context of Benidorm Bastards? Let me give 3 examples. First, in one of the sketches, an old man stands in front of a cash machine, yelling his name, PIN code, and desired amount of money. He starts complaining to the others standing in line that the machine is not working since he's not getting any cash. Or another example that we just watched together, the man who was there with his dove, which is like a typical hobby for older men. So he opened the box to let the dove fly, and it fell down dead. This is of the same kind of humor. So what happens in these situations is that the older actors reenact 2 normative age scripts. Old people are not capable of dealing with new technologies, and they are inherently physically and mentally frail, respectively. Rather than hiding their impotence, these men do the contrary. They make their being out of time and place hypervisible by showing their anger, confusion, and vulnerability in a humiliating way. In these particular scenes, the younger people walking by are astonished by the conduct of the elderly, but in a different way than in the previously mentioned sketches.
What is interesting here is it's a video installation, but it's all about the sacre and it's all about dance. So it's a kind of mixed media installation. And what you see here is you have 3 video screens in the middle. On those 3 video screens, arranged in a circle, you see several dancers perform the sacrificial dance of the chosen one. And it's been danced by one person per screen, but you have, of course, several people dancing the very recognizable choreographic phrase of the chosen one. And around that, you have other screens, 6 other screens, forming the outer circle, and that's the chorus of the older people, closing in on the maiden before she sacrifices or dances herself to death. That's the installation. What you see on the screens are old people. She deliberately chose people that were skinny, with gray hair, fat seniors with bald heads, and she did not make any effort to conceal their wrinkles or to conceal their liver spots. No, you really have people, bodies by older people as they are. So she did not try to conceal the natural factors of age, of sickness, of decline, etc. But there is something really funny about the movement. There is a kind of flickering in the movement. Now what happened is that, of course, these people, sometimes 70, sometimes 80, they could not dance the sacrificial dance of the chosen one because it's a very, very, very hard solo to dance. It's even hard for young people to dance. It's very demanding. So what she did was like she put a white blanket on the floor and she animated the old people into the dance of the chosen one. And then she made I think it was over 3,000 shots, photographic shots, and she combined it in an animation technique. So for the spectator, you have these people smiling and doing the dance, but there is something hesitating in the sequence of the dance movement. And you have this very, very strange effect as a spectator, because on the one hand, you are confronted with old people dancing, which first of all confronts you with the fact like, look, this is not possible. My preconceived notion is that it's not possible. But on the other hand, she doesn't stretch these old people into youthful eternity by also having these sequences interrupt a little bit. So it is, first of all, a confrontation with your own prejudice about age, and on the other hand, you see them laughing, cheerful, enjoying these things. So it is a very critique on dance history and also on our perception of older people on stage.